thing I don't talk about a lot, and maybe I should really do more of it, is I was reflecting about intention. And it's a tiny thing, but it's huge, like most tiny, obvious, ordinary things. In the ancient world of the Buddha's day, in the world of ancient Brahmanism, Hinduism, and Jainism, there was a real premium put on a culture of purity, of religious purity. This is really important in those days, in those religious traditions, that there were certain activities and certain items that were impurifying. So like, for instance, an Orthodox Brahmin Hindu would never knowingly touch a dead body, because it would necessitate a full bath and a complete rechanting of their morning mantra cycle. And it would be, it'd mess up your whole day. You got like an hour worth of chanting and mantra practice and the whole thing, because you became so impurified from the touch of that dead body that now you were in like a fallen state. You were like in a broken state and you had to restore. This is common all over the world. Different religions have this idea. Even just substances like feces or blood, these profoundly impurifying. I was told as an Orthodox Tantric Hindu when I was young in temple that if I were to touch alcohol, I would have to be reinitiated in all of my mantra and visualization practices. Basically my whole religious practice up to that point would just be in the trash can, and I'd have to like start over and get fully reinitiated. And which on the one hand could, put you into you could see it in a positive way of like, oh, okay, I'm not going to become a drunkard and get in trouble, which was probably a good thing for me to hear as a late teens growing up in America. But also, it's an invitation to real anxiety. And also the question could come, well, that's strange. Your religious practices, these sacred mantras, these practices that I've received from my teachers, they don't sound terribly powerful then. If touching alcohol or a dead body or some feces, I mean, I hate to break it to you, but if you walk around outside, there was probably something dead there at some point. If you've ever watched dogs and watching them roll on some kind of mysterious grassy spot, like they're scent masking. There's something there that they want to cover themselves. It's a really interesting dog behavior to keep them out of predators' smells. So at a certain point you could ask, these religious rituals and these practices seem really fragile then. And they seem like they're trying to keep me in this kind of rarefied, fragile, unstable, purified state and remove me from this dirty, scary, changing world. So the Buddha was a really interesting figure in his day, because his teaching about purifying and impurifying, about good and bad, about skillful and unskillful, was based around intention. So in the ancient world, in these traditions, just by accidentally doing something, accidentally touching a dead body, accidentally touching feces, accidentally touching alcohol, touching a lower caste person than yourself, it was a deeply racist and caste stratified society the Buddha lived in. That had terrible karma that you had to fix. But the Buddha said, no. Actually, intention is karma. Did you mean to do this? Did you mean to do that? It's not that you accidentally stepped on someone's foot and now you have to suffer the bad karma. It's you stepped on someone's foot. They say ow. You say sorry. Congratulations. And Did you mean to step on their foot? Did you mean to hurt them? What was your intention? It's instead of an invitation to anxiety, it's an invitation to reflection. So that's the kind of broader metaphysical and ethical kind of landscape where the Buddha centers the crucial nature of karma inside of intention. Intention is everything for the Buddha. And so in our practice, it's very common, especially if you come from a traditional standpoint, to have an intention setting. So for me, when I sit, I do a brief kind of recitation of some prayers that I like, and I'm kind of like, I'm sitting now. Or that thing that I say every night here, where I say, nowhere to go, nothing to do, no one to be, I'm just sitting. It's a way of setting our intention. Or when I say, how beautiful it is that you're here, that you've set aside this time to be present to your own experience. It's an invitation to intention. What am I doing here? And on another note, you already did the hard part. Look at you. You guys put on pants. You guys found parking. You walked or drove over. You're sitting in a hot room on a Monday night in the summer. Like you guys are killing it as far as your intention goes. And at the same time, every time we do anything is an invitation to intention. Why am I doing this? What's going on inside me? And you know as well as I do, it's easy to do the right thing with a bad intention. And it's easy to do the wrong thing with a good intention, or maybe a little more difficult, unfortunately. It's easy for me to say good morning at work to someone who I don't care for. I just say it through gritted teeth. And I'm sure they don't know. I'm sure they're completely oblivious to the fact that I don't care for them, right? Sure. So I just want, on this next sit, hi. You can come in if you want to, no pressure. We're just hanging out. Have a great night. People were like, and you know, your intention could be anything at all. Anywhere from, I'm just taking a minute for myself. I'm just resting. I just need to breathe. Maybe it's therapeutic. I'm really upset and I need to come to ground. I need to center. And it could be spelled out in words in your mind. It could be recited. It could be in the form of a prayer, a poem you love, a song. And the power of that intention is such that when you sit, you have this incredible opportunity to set the parameters of your available experience. So again, when we sit, it would be easy to make our practice very small and fragile and be like, I need to get away from all the stress in my life. I'm just going to sit and get really calm. That's a relatively small intention. And the world doesn't give a damn that you decided to close your eyes and be calm and quiet for a minute. The leaf blowers don't. The car alarms don't. Your phone doesn't. Your kids, my kids don't. They know well and good that just as dad's sitting doesn't mean anything. So imagine if you could set your intention in the most expansive way possible. You can set your intention, and instead of saying, I'm going to sit and concentrate on my breath, and maybe there's an unspoken intention there of, and the world better not bother me, or nothing better upset me, or I don't know, if my experience isn't calm and focused, that I'm failing. That's really common. I've spent a considerable number of years of my life training in meditation thinking that I'm failing and judging my experience. Totally unnecessary. I don't get a cookie at the end if I do that. No one cares. I'm just suffering. And the opposite is always available to you. You can sit and actually set your intention like I'm going to meet whatever arises with kindness. From the cars outside, to the voices inside, to the heat, to my right knee throbbing. And then when those visitors do come, you say, oh yes, here it is. And you just turn towards this experience instead of turning away or guarding or trying to fix it or get rid of it. So I want to invite you to close up these prepared remarks. I just want to invite you to maybe explore intention in your life as it regards, as it relates to practice, but also as it relates to the whole rest of your life. I noticed today when I was driving my son around so he could take pictures of Gothic architecture at churches in the Southland, that, since I don't like to drive in Los Angeles on the freeways, I got really impatient. And I was like, wait a minute, you're off today. You got nowhere else to go. You in a rush to get to the next Gothic architecture church in LA? It ain't going nowhere. I had to keep catching myself and reestablishing my intention. So, intention is a profound power that is available to you. And just with a little reflection, you can notice if you are still in harmony with your previous intention, if you need to adjust your intention according to the circumstances. Are you fighting your intention? Or maybe you didn't even have one to begin with, and now you might want one.